So, we're ready to go? Okay.
I know English.
Awesome. So, let's move it along. Okay. Goals of the show. I did this before, so y'all should know what they are. People that have seen this presentation before. Go ahead and hit the thing. The first thing is we are actually here to support the public, to give them information. We want to entertain them so that they want to come back and they want to experience hibiscus like we do. So that's one of the big things that's going on with hibiscus is in these shows, we want to be making a good presentation to everybody. That's the reason we want the best blooms being displayed, and move on to the next one. The other thing is to encourage you guys to participate and entertain y'all. I personally love going to shows. Peanut and I used to be buddy all the time. Would go to Texas, we'd go all over the place. A number of us have been going to Pensacola here recently. It's a lot of fun to get together and do this, and we don't always win, but you know, it's one of those things. And this is the reason that we need to have judges training. Fair competition. Because every show that we go to, we get people that come up after us going, I don't understand what happened here. I think this person doesn't like me. They did this to me. Why did this person, you know, they'll come over to me and go, tell me what's wrong with this balloon. What's wrong with this balloon? I got blue on this. And you've got to go through and explain it to them. And a lot of times if they took the classes, they know. But unfortunately, a number of times, I'm just like, dude, I don't know. There's nothing I can do about it.
That they really don't like it.
Well, it's usually I believe this stuff.
But they don't like it, they give you an X.
That is, believe me about that.
Well, I got one.
So anyway, that's what we're trying to do. I would like there to be some consistency in everybody's judging. So a number of years ago, I did a CPOD where I focused just on the judges training, and I tried to break it down as far as how we can judge easier, because we would go to Texas. I actually had been to Florida for the judging there, and everybody's looking at different things. And there's no way that we can do that consistently across. So we've tried to make it universal, more or less, or I've tried to do that. So anyway, just a couple of basic things. If you are going to exhibit, you need to make sure that you have the plant in your possession for 30 days. The reason is we're not trying to judge DuPont and how well they can judge blooms, or they can grow blooms. We're looking at what you can do. So you need to have it for 30 days before you bring it in. You only get one entry in each class. So if you have 4 presidents, pick the best one and enter it in. We've had a number, especially amateurs, that have been disqualified because they put everything that they have in. So if you see someone doing that, stop them and go, hold it, just a second. Pick your best one and put that in. Name the bloom supposed to be, make your best. Yeah, there's a number of different write-ups on this. You can put the word unknown. It's much better than putting the wrong thing in there. And let me speak on unknown. If someone runs this across my table and they've got it as Vander and Win, I'm going to take off points. Well, actually, I'm going to know on this one, but if they did, I can't remember the Win, that is a red one. That's smaller than this, it's a little bit uglier. You could realistically take points off because that's what it's supposed to be, and that is not what it is. That makes sense? So it's better for you to put unknown, and then we just go, okay, well, we don't know what it is, so we're moving on. Okay, so in the first part of judging, and this is the most critical part of it, and that's what I'm going to focus on tonight, is the first part of judging. This is where you have 3 judges that sit at a table. They take each one of the blooms, they look at it, and they are going to decide whether or not it is a blue, gold, red, or in Peanut's case, an X. And so you do that by judging with 5 different things. We're going to talk about that in a second. But what we're judging is this bloom compared to what we know this bloom, this variety, to look like. So we're not comparing this to Heart of Darkness and going, look, this is nowhere near as good as Heart of Darkness. This is President. Most of y'all should have President. It's a pretty common one. We're trying to look at this versus the normal of this particular variety. So I don't care if you absolutely hate president or whatever, you can still judge it as if it's a good representation or a bad representation of that particular oil. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna be focusing on. This is where we get screwed up all the time. In the last part of judging, it's all about your preference and nobody cares. You can go in going, I love splotches and I'm gonna vote for splotches. And I'm like, great, whatever you wanna do. But this is the area where you need to back up and go, what is that variety supposed to look at? So I'm gonna tell you the things that you should be looking for. So go ahead and do the next one. So what we're gonna be looking for: form, size, color, substance, and condition. So each one of those you can give up to 2 points in. And so we're gonna go into detail on each one of these. And I'm not gonna bother reading them now because we're gonna do it in depth in just a second. So, as you can see, I wrote it in here, and I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do later on. I'm gonna try to run through this as quickly as possible. I have 16 blooms set up, 14 in there, 2 of them over here. Everybody's gonna get a piece of paper, and I want you to go and judge those blooms. And then you're gonna come back here, and then we're gonna pull each one of those blooms out, and I'm gonna tell you what I think it should be. Just so you know, those numbers can change realistically based on what your experience is. But we're gonna talk about each one of them. So let's go into the first one. Oh, well, we're gonna go into the point system, I guess. So the points are 0 to 2, like I said, on each one of those categories. So keep in mind, you can give it a 0, you can give it a 1, or you can give it a 2. So there's 3 different things that you can give it. If you're taking the test, remember that. It's kind of a trick question. So 0, 1, or 2 points.
And that's points
each
off,
one of
right?
them. That's points. You can go either way with it. You can either give each one the points, or you can
So
take
you
them off.
say 0 counts as 1, and then 1 is 2.
0 counts as you get no points for
Right, so
that, or
or
you
you
take
take
no points off.
the
So you
3.
can go either way, yes.
Right.
0, 1, and
Right.
2. All right, and then we're gonna give a ribbon based on the number of points that you end up with. So 9 and 10 is basically a perfect bloom. So it's gonna have one little minor default to it, to a completely perfect, nothing wrong with it, blue and then red. So even if you're gonna give a red, it's what, 4 to 6 points? It's actually 0 to 6 points. But if you're gonna give it a red, you need to be able to show the points in it, not just look at a completely horrible one, which we are gonna see some completely horrible ones, and just go, well, that is the worst thing in the world, and give it a red. Sometimes they can still be a blue and they're completely horrible. Let's go on to the next one. So we're gonna go into form. So this is perfect form on Taiwan, Formosa, Stormfront. So you can see 5 petals. This is gonna be key. 5 petals. Even on the doubles, you're gonna have 5 base petals on them. This is something that makes hibiscus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will tell you, there's no tricks in there. I was hoping we were gonna get a 4 or 6 or something like that. I didn't get any of them in today. That is something that you need to watch for as a judge. If it comes in as anything other than 5, you give it an X. It is out of the competition. I don't agree with that. I think you ought to take off the maximum points in form, but they voted on it and they decided to keep the X. So it is actually removed from the competition at that point. So you can see everything is fairly balanced in it, so we have symmetry. It's another thing that you're supposed to be watching for, particularly in the singles, is you want to look for symmetry. Go ahead and hit the next one. This would be an example of bad symmetry. Just a little bit. Also notice only 2 petals. This is the same variety, by the way. So you can see color's not bad, but it's a little off. So that would be removed from the competition since it's only 2 petals. Let's go to the next one. So in here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals on it. We also have one that's underneath and way off to the side. So for me, now whenever you're doing this, you can take 2 points off. What I came up with is if it's noticeable. If you happen to notice that it's in there and it's wrong, you would take 1 point off. If you look at that bloom and that's all you see is, oh my God, man, there's another thing over here, I would consider that distracting and I would give 2 points off of that. And I've found that if you go through everything and go with noticeable versus distracting, you can come up with your points fairly easily. This automatically disqualified because it's 6. Okay, next one. So this one is 5, but we got this great big one over here, so really bad symmetry. I can tell you, as Buddy said earlier, you can't tell too much by looking at a picture, but in this case, you can tell. And I saw it in person, and it was way bigger than the others. It was very distracting. So once again, you would take off maximum points for symmetry in that. Next one. So this one also, if you notice, this petal is underneath, so it's not symmetrical at all. Also very distracting. In some cases, the exhibitor can actually lift this up over the side and get that to sit in there correctly. That can happen and probably could have there, but I left it alone so that I could take a picture of it. Next one. Okay. Sacred Fire. This is a really, really nice one. It's got 4 really, really nice. But that one is just messed up. Nothing you can do about it. Unfortunately, it's not an X, even though it looks horrible. It's going to be maximum points off for symmetry. Next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 balloons, 7 petals on this one.
But it's pretty.
It is absolutely gorgeous. I love this one, and unfortunately mine died. But it's called Fifth Planet, and it's also by Push Push Suresh. But 7 petals, it can go into some other competition, not an hibiscus one. So it's Fifth Planet.
Oh,
Next. Okay, so if you look at it real fast, that might look like it's okay until you start looking at it and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at this great big one compared to the other ones. Once again, this is a 4 and it's out. That's Russian Firebird. Russian Firebird has a tendency to go a little bit over sometimes and a little bit under. Okay, so this one, everything's pushed off to one side. Once again, symmetry way off. There's no way you're not distracted by that. There's no way you're looking at that and looking at something other than, wow, look at that great big gap inside of it. 2 points off on that. So I want to show you something. We still have 5 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the symmetry is still very off, very distracting, maximum points off, but it is not disqualified, believe it or not. So, and the color is actually good on the petals out of there. Next. Okay, so this is Paul Felsberg. It is a double. I know for a fact that Paul Felsberg, for the most part, is very symmetrical. On doubles, we are not supposed to judge as harshly on symmetry because it's very hard for them to be symmetrical. And some of them, like Untamed Heart, are not going to be symmetrical no matter what. So unless you know the bloom on a double, you need to kind of give it a pass or at least give it some latitude on doubles. But I happen to know this one, and this is not typical. If you look, there's a big gap inside here. So that doesn't look horrible, but go to the next thing. It can look like that, and that's more typical of it. And so I would give off maximum points on that other. Next one. Indian Bride. Another really, really nice one. It is a double, but we can still take points off on doubles. You will hear people in all the different states that we represent going, oh, it's a double, so you don't take points off on symmetry. You absolutely can if you know the bloom. Go to the next one. That is what it's supposed to look like. So obviously that is very distracting when you see that other part. Okay? Don't worry about that. Okay, next one. All right, so this one is a seedling of mine. It's Kendall's Citrine Dream, and it is almost always asymmetrical. That is just part of it. So if you were to judge this one off, then you would be wrong, and I would have every right to come to you afterwards and go, well, why did you take points off on this? Show me where you got your points off. And you go, oh, it's not symmetrical. Not supposed to be. If you don't know the bloom, it changes how you can judge, which is why I said you may go in that room and yours is not going to be the same as mine because I know things about those blooms that you guys don't. So you could take off of that, but we're not going to get into that symmetry for right now. Next one. Okay, once again, Russian Firebird, notice the symmetry. We've got one underneath. I can tell you for a fact, and I remember doing this, you cannot lift that one. It was too big up underneath there. It's just not gonna make it. Symmetry is gonna be off. The best it could ever hope to get is a bullet. Next. Okay. So what I wanted to bring up with this one is, this is a drone jump.
Yeah.
And if you notice, it's recurving. You see how everything's kind of falling down? Here's what you've got to watch with recurve, is we bring the blooms in the morning, we set them all up, 11 o'clock is about the latest that we're judging, and then we go back later on, it may be 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon before a lot of people were actually able to see the blooms. In that amount of time, this thing's gonna flatten out. And when I come to you afterwards and go, why did you take points off on this? And you're like, well, it was recurved. That's what it does in the morning, and then it flattens out. And so be very cautious taking off points for recurve. That is another one where you need to know the bloom. If you know that it's not supposed to do that, then you can take points off. If you don't, I would leave it alone. It's not gonna go anywhere. No one's gonna choose it as the best thing when it's recurved like that.
There's a bunch of them that do that.
There's a bunch of them that do it, particularly the larger blooms, because what it is the weight here is higher than what it can handle, and it takes a little while for it to get more rigid and hold itself up. So keep that in mind. That's what we're talking about here is recurve on. Next thing is size. I use the best example that I know of for size. So I have a measuring thing in my house that I put them on, this little hole that has things written out on the side. So that is 10 inches right there. So that's a 10-inch bloom. This is, of course, Buddy's Hannah's Love, which for me is almost always 8 to 10.5 inches. When you say that's good, if I get one that comes across my table that's 6 inches, I'm taking points off. That is a noticeable, wow, Buddy would be really disappointed in this bloom.
Buddy would not have shown it.
Well, regardless of whether or not he would have shown it, you can take points off for size. But with size, you have to know the bloom. You can't just go, well, that's a small bloom. These things come in all different sizes. I mean, there are, okay, maybe not this small all the time, but some of them are fairly small. This one usually doesn't go over 6 at the most. I mean, this is the typical size for
peppermint parasol.
Yeah, that is the typical size for it. So if you're expecting to compare that to Hannah's Love, it ain't gonna happen. So that's the main thing you need to know about that. Color. Color is another one where if you don't know the bloom, you pretty much have to give it a pass. You can't take any points off. This is why we have 3 judges, and hopefully one of the judges there can say, oh, I know this bloom, this is the wrong color, this is what it should look like, and we can go from there. You can pull it up on the website, on the international, and compare color. You were gonna take way too long doing that, and you're gonna piss everybody off in the process. So move it along. If the color is off, even if you gave it a gold, it's not gonna go anywhere, so no reason to freak out. I'm not like some of the other people that think, oh, you gotta have so many blues and so many golds. I can tell you as a judge that looks in a gold room all the time, you pass over all those bad ones really fast. You don't even think twice about them, so don't worry about that. All right, Russian Firebird. Decent color? This is what it looks like normal. Nope, hit the button. That's what it looks like normal. So that is easily 1 or 2 points off on that, okay? So if you don't know that, that may have looked like that was just perfectly fine. Next one. This one is Kendall's watercolors. You might like pink. That's horrible, because this is what it's supposed to look like. You don't even get the little pinkish marks in there on that other one. That is a completely faded out picture or bloom. And so I would probably have given 2 points off on color, just for that. Next one. This is electric plum. And it's supposed to be purple, believe it or not. So we'll show what it's supposed to look like. Not even close. So going back, You cannot judge it if you don't know what it's supposed to look like. And you may have looked at those and gone, well, I could easily tell something was wrong, but you gotta be able to put your finger on what it is. So anyway, next. All right, this is a really good example of something, because I had a guy, actually was sick, came up to me after a show in Baton Rouge and went, what is wrong with this balloon of Indian Bride? Why did I get a blue on it? And there's one that looks like this, that got a gold, and I'm like, bad judging, man. I don't know what else to tell you, because this is what it's supposed to look like, and his looked much closer to this. It was not 100% there, but it was pretty close, and I couldn't find where I could take 1 point off of his. So there are problems with judging. If they don't know, some people want to act like they know something. It's better for you to pass it on and for it to get a higher grade than a lower one, because you cannot take it back. You can't go after the fact, you know, oh man, I'm sorry that you lost out because I didn't know that one. That sucks. We can't do anything about it. It's a done deal at that point. And there are plenty of them that I would love to have taken back. Anyway, next. Oh, I was about to say, what is that? This is one of my seedlings, actually. So what I'm going to show you is color faults. So this is a color fault right here. So all of the rest of the petals look like this. This one has this one run. I'm sorry, that's 2 points off in color. That is extremely distracting, because that is what you see. And next one. This is a color fault with a streak running down the thing. Same thing, when I look at that bloom, that is what I see. That is distracting to me. That's 2 points off. Next. This one is a little bit more questionable. This is color faults. Actually, this is color faults. Just the white one there. Because white is not a color that it actually gets in it. So I might give a point off on this. If someone missed it, I don't think I would be really upset about it, because you can't really tell, because there are other little splotches. It's just, if you notice, that one's white and the rest of them are yellow. So I definitely wouldn't give it 2. It's not distracting. In real life, it was a little bit more obvious with the white versus the yellow ones, but probably 1 point off on that. Next, substance. This one is usually a harder one to judge, and this really has a lot to do with how old the bloom is. Go ahead. So this is one of my seedlings. You see the edges, how worn it looks? It's because the substance on it is almost completely gone. This is an older bloom, believe it or not. It did not open right away. It half opened like this, and it sat there for 2 days, and then it finally opened all the way up, which is why this area still looks really nice and the outside looks like garbage. So this is what it looks like normal. Go ahead and get the next. Very different. Once again, I know that it looks like this, so I know how horrible that was, and that's definitely 2 points off on substance. You have a number of, I'm trying to think of the big one that everybody loves. It's a big pink, has horrible substance.
Fantasy Charm.
Fantasy Charm, that's exactly what I was looking for. Fantasy Charm has horrible substance normally. If you see a really nice one in a show, that's something. It's really big petals, very, very thin texture, and so it almost always looks horrible. I would not take a lot of points off of that, because I know what that bloom looks like normally. So
Is it Mandalorian?
Yeah, that's Mandalorian.
Okay.
Okay, so here's another one where you can see there's a little bit of a substance issue here. More like a substance abuse issue. So this is not curly leaf virus. This is actually just curls on the end of it. There are some blooms that do that. I can't think any of them off the top of my head, but they're a little bit. It's more frilly on the outside, kind of a little bit wavy, not so much poised up. This has to do with temperature changes and a couple of different things. Spray can actually cause it to do that. But you're still going to take points off, because this is what it looks like normally. So, I mean, you can see it normally looks okay. It's a little bit turned up, but nothing like in that old. Okay?
Skip it.
This is a substance issue. It's very light, this is hard, this is a bad example on almost every level. So this is electric, pump. Go ahead and hit it. Oh, well, you already saw what it looked like before. Okay, condition and weather. Go ahead and hit it. All right, these are water spots all over this. This is Moria Anastasia. That is not something that it normally does. So this is the date, the night before the show. We got rain showers with it open, and it got water inside of there, and they just kind of dry. In fact, you can actually see a water drop right there, right up there. So they made marks on it. That's condition. If you've got a show the next day and it's supposed to rain, bring plants inside. I do it all the time. If it's in the ground, sorry about your luck. It's gonna happen. Here we have a rip, and this damage here is when the bud is, almost completely closed, not so much. Before it opens up, if you get wind and it's hitting the stalk of something else, it rubs the ends of it, it damages it, and then it comes out looking like this a lot of times. Or if you do anything that messes up those edges, that's actually what that is. So that is damage, unfortunately. So if you do get buds that are laying over close to other ones, you can kind of move them around, separate them out a little bit. Insects. Oh, I got lots of insects.
Some of your favorites.
Oh, yeah. All right, thrips. Anybody familiar with thrips? This is not what this is supposed to look like. This is all thrip damage. And I've told this story before, but when Kendall's Watercolors was a seedling, unfortunately, the first time it bloomed, I entered it into a show. I didn't win, so it's no big deal. But Cinnamon Seas was up that day, and Bobby DuPont was walking around with it going, look at all the thrip damage on this thing. It is insane. It's all over the bloom. He submitted it in. It won Best of Show because they thought that was actually, it was so much on it, they thought that that was part of the bloom.
Some of it looks like.
And that is how it won. And thank God it beat me because I had a plant that was this big. I would have never been able to do anything with it. So, but yeah, I harbored some resentment about that for a while. Anyway, once again, this is thrip damage all the way across here. I can do this all night with thrip damage. I'm telling you. Go ahead, next. We even have a bug on this one. We've got water damage. Is that Zeke Jackson?
You picked it up.
Yeah, this is what, it's kind of closing up on me, but you can see, it doesn't have any of those marks on it. So, actually a very nice little bloom, but that is not it right there. So all kinds of damage on that one. Next. Thrip damage all over this, the lines. Does anybody know how to check for thrips to see if you got thrips? For one thing, if you got these marks all over, that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
But you can actually take the blooms and take a piece of white paper and kind of rip up the bloom a little bit and shake it really hard, and you get these little things that are drop out or that are maybe that long, and they're like hair thin, and they'll just be shooting all over the place. If that happens, you have thrips. Orthene is the best thing to use. Rod is the one that told me about orthene. I do not have thrips anymore. Haven't had them in a number of years because of what Rod told me. So that's a very easy one to get rid of. Thrips do fly, so you want to make sure you cover more than just your area, kind of cover around it. Next. Grasshoppers. Eating right through. You'll see that. Also, slugs will eat right through the plants. There's a number of things that will eat right through on these. Next. So this one's got a few problems. Just a few problems. If you notice, completely ate that off. Now this is grasshoppers that got this. And what happened is, if you notice, it's all symmetrical. It's because they ate it when it was closed up, and they just ate right through. And so it made it across all of the different things. So anyway, handling. So this is the part that you are responsible for. This was at a show. I was trying to open up a bloom really fast. It's Color Crush, and I ripped it. That is incredibly distracting, 2 points off, 100% my fault. Next one. This is pollen that has fallen off onto the bloom itself. This is something that you can take care of. I usually bring a brush with me and I'll brush it off. Do not knock it off with your hands. If this is very dry and you grab it and start going, all you're gonna do is get more of it going all over the place. Put a brush, knock it off, no problem. Also, if you got greasy hands, you can leave marks all over these. I don't know if I addressed that in here yet.
A lot of people were using paintbrushes, you gotta watch them. If you're gonna get a paintbrush, I got a blending brush, it's called a blending brush. It's real
That's the big
soft.
wide one.
Yeah, that's the
what I
best
use.
one, it's soft and it won't do nothing, it's not gonna tear.
Yeah.
But get a blending brush.
Push it off on the side and it'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Next. So you can see the pollen that's on there, and that is distracting. And as a judge, I'm looking at that going, you could have cleaned this up. There's no reason why you didn't do that. You just went, oh, well, I'm going to submit it in, so I'm taking points off for it. It's probably just minor distraction, not anything major, noticeable, but not anything major. Right, next. This is it when it doesn't have pollen. By the way, this was the original picture, and then I kind of knocked some pollen down and took it. So, anyway, next. All right, so we're going to go back to the scoring system. One thing that I want to make sure y'all are aware of is we are not trying to punish anybody here. All we're trying to do is separate the good blooms out from the regular blooms. So if you see something wrong, if you see something that someone could fix, like that pollen one, there is no reason for you to not hand it to a runner and say, bring that back and tell them to clean it up. Help them out. We're not trying to penalize anybody. We're not trying to go, oh, these people suck so bad, we're going to take points off. Help people out. If you see it come to your table and it's the wrong size, so it comes in, now this is a 5-inch ring, and I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of detail with this, but we have miniatures. That has to fit through.
Good choice.
This will probably work. Yeah, so I can go through without touching it. If we get it in and we test it and it will not go through, just take it, send it back, have them put a new tag on it. That's all we need to do. It's not a big deal. Let me see what things I missed. The other thing is, so we have miniature. This is my category, which is commercial. There is a yellow category, which is open, and then a green category. I think y'all have another category for yours, but green is collector, and then white is amateur. If you get amateur balloons coming in, white tags, be nicer to them. Don't give it all away, but if you see something you can help them with, like, man, you could have done this a little bit different, send it back to them. Tell them what to do. Help them out. Open it up a little more. Something along those lines. Pay attention to that kind of stuff, particularly on the amateurs. We get so many, they get so frustrated, they don't understand what's going on with it. I mean, they're just trying to have fun and putting stuff in. Help them out. The other thing is, we don't get a lot of double amateurs. In fact, we've had a number of shows where there were no double amateurs in there. There were no golds. If you see a few of them come through that made it through, that's fine. If you're not seeing any that come through, be a little nicer to them. So, I have seen where they've had 5 or 6 blues in that category and no golds and nobody got anything. So, we want people to win things. We want to see amateurs win. Anybody that's seen me, I usually take pictures of all the amateurs that win and try to post them. The other thing is seedling. This is not what you're going to be judging right now. So everything that I just told you does not apply to seedlings. Seedling, when you're looking at a seedling, you should be looking at what its potential is. How is it different from everything else out there? Would I want this kind of plant in my collection? That's what you're looking at. What is its potential? Not necessarily what does it look like today. So you'll see some seedlings that go through in the gold room that they've got other problems with them. I mean, I personally probably wouldn't put something through and make it win, but if it's something really unique, maybe. But they're not being judged the same way the rest of them.
And if you're showing somebody else's plants, make sure it's a seedling and don't put it in
Yeah,
regular.
like someone did.
Yeah, I could do a whole class on how you're supposed to be putting stuff in. And so going into the seedling part of it, this is more for showing, but if you have a seedling, you get 5 shows, and then it has to move out of the seedling category and go into regular. If it wins at any point, it goes out. If you sell it, so if you lose control of that plant, so let's say I sell one of my seedlings to you, that is no longer a seedling anymore. I don't have control of it anymore. DuPont has gotten caught numerous times doing this, not on purpose, but things happen and their plants go out and they've sold them and they try to get them back and try to harness it. And Sea of Flames is a great example. It's a beautiful bloom that somebody screwed up and sold them, and when it was one of them, we tried to get it back for them, and then we found out somebody else had it because they posted it online. It's like, it's gone.
The weekend crew was different, and they shipped them to Lafayette.
Oh.
Well, they went to check.
And that's
20
also why it's
something
important when you go
plants.
to DuPont to not go where it's off limits.
That is a big portion of what they're doing, and they are really watching for those seedlings to make sure seedlings don't walk out that door. So if you notice, they are watching you when you're checking out. They're looking at all of your plants. Do not get caught changing tags or going into areas you're not supposed to go into. You will be banned forever.
And it could affect everybody.
Well, that's their
It
future.
absolutely could
That's
affect
their
everybody,
future.
because honestly, they don't need us.
Right.
And what they're doing is allowing us to
That's
actually
courtesy.
have a hell of an advantage
courtesy.
for everybody. It's absolutely a
They
courtesy.
just letting us in.
Yes.
And so there are a few of us that will go now and screaming, trying to help DuPont out for those reasons. Yes, ma'am.
So they have some blooms, not a whole bunch of them, but there's some blooms that will be doubles sometimes, and
Yes.
sometimes they're singles.
Yes,
How do you judge that?
whatever it is that day.
Okay.
And that's really not even something you have to worry about, because at no point in here did I say you have to judge it, whether it's a double or a single.
Okay.
So you're gonna judge it whether it's a gold, blue, or a red. It's gonna be sent to the gold room, and then Carolyn or one of the other show directors is gonna look at it and go, this is a double, it goes over here, this is a single, it goes over there. Same thing with the seedlings. You don't submit them in like you do normal ones, you bring them directly over to the show director. They put them in, they bypass all of this stuff.
Okay.
And go
She's
straight.
talking about Island Sunrise. I brought one time and it doubled.
Yeah.
And they had to put it in as a double.
Yeah, which is no big deal.
It doubled. And it was-
And there are a number of them that do it. Kendall's Watercolors is probably 60% a single now, 40%
Creole
double.
Lady does it too.
I've never seen Creole Lady, I'm not saying it doesn't,
I
but
had a double bloom, and it's supposed to be single, and I had a double one, and I was like, is this really Creole Lady? And they were like, it looks like it, that's what it's tagged as, and I was like, this is nothing.
could be. Peanut has one of mine, TJ Castaway. I have never had it bloom as a double, and he's got a plant that just nonstop
The
blooms
whole
double.
week it was double.
That's all that food.
Kind of says, no, yeah, it is, I'm pooping it. That's what it is.
Oh, he's pooping all over that stuff. So, what's next on this? All right, so that's just showing you a really bad example. Go ahead and clear it out next. Okay. All right, so here's what I want to do. I would like each one of y'all to get a piece of paper. There are 16 blooms set up. 2 of them back there on this table, and there are 14 on the other, in the other room. 2 of them are on the front table, the rest of them are around the center. Try to spread out a little bit. I'd like y'all to go in there and judge them based on form, size, color, substance, and condition. So give 0, 1, or 2 points in each one of those categories. And I don't care about you coming back with a blue or a gold. I want to see the number that you come back with. And so what we're going to do is once everybody gets done, we're going to pull each one of them in here and talk about it and see how you do. I don't care what you could get a 0 on this. It's all about a learning experience and not about shaming anybody. So
There's numbers on the bloom.
there are numbers on each one of the blooms. Y'all good?